Ready.
Kelly Christian is the one I'm nominating.
Good evening. You ready? Good evening. I would like to call the regular meeting of the Milton City Council for Wednesday, February 21st, 2024 to order. The city strongly recommends that you review tonight's agenda carefully, and if you wish to speak on any item on the agenda, then please bring your comment cards to the clerk as soon as possible. While the Milton rules allow a speaker to turn in their comment card up until the clerk calls the agenda item, once the agenda item is called, no more comment cards can be accepted. Will the city clerk please call the roll and make general announcements?
Good evening, Mayor Pro Tem and Council. Before I call roll this evening, I would like to remind everyone in attendance to please silence all cell phones at this time. Those attending the meeting who would like to make a public comment, you are required to complete a public comment card prior to the agenda item being called. Any comment cards received after the item has been called will not be accepted. All speakers, when called to the podium, will identify themselves with name and address and organization before beginning their comment. If you are representing an organization, a notarized affidavit is required stating you have the authority to speak on behalf of that organization. Please review tonight's agenda, and if you would like to make a public comment, please bring your comment cards to me now. Demonstration of any sort within the chamber is prohibited. Please refrain from any applause, cheering, booing, outburst, or dialogue with any person speaking. Anyone in violation will be asked to leave. Mayor Pro Tem and Council, as I call roll this evening for the February 21st, 2024 regular City Council meeting, please confirm your attendance. Mayor Pro Tem Carol Kirkerly.
Here.
Councilmember Andrea Veerhoff.
Here.
Councilmember Doug Haney.
Here.
Councilmember Juliette Johnson.
Here.
Councilmember Jan Jacobus.
Present.
And Councilmember Phil Cranmer.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem, you have a quorum. Would everyone please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Next is approval of the meeting agenda. I'd like to add an executive session to discuss personnel, land acquisition, and potential litigation. I'd also like to add a new business item to immediately follow the approval of the meeting agenda. It will be agenda item number 24-076, which is consideration of a resolution appointing or reappointing members to the City of Milton Sustainability Advisory Committee by appointing a board member for District 3, Post 1. I would also like to defer new business agenda item number 24-073, consideration to accept an application for the abandonment of approximately 2,400 square feet of public right-of-way within the Milton Run subdivision. Is there a motion and a second?
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda as proposed.
Second.
I have a motion from Councilmember Cranmer and a second from Councilmember Jacobus. Let's see. To approve the meeting agenda as amended. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion passes unanimously. Moving on to the added new business item, will the city clerk sound the items?
Mayor Pro Tem, that added new business item is consideration of a resolution appointing or reappointing members to the City of Milton Sustainability Advisory Committee by appointing a board member for District 3, Post 1. It's agenda item number 24-076. Mayor Pro Tem.
Councilmember Jacobus, I believe you have the honor tonight.
Thank you. It is my pleasure this evening to nominate Kelly Christian to the Milton Sustainability Advisory Committee. Kelly was born and raised in North Carolina. She attended Western Carolina University for her undergraduates, attended North Georgia College and State University for her graduate degrees. Kelly taught school, in a number of different communities. Before retiring, she taught 9th, 10th, and 11th grade at Milton High School. Extremely active as a volunteer, some examples: Alpharetta Junior Women's Club, BUMC member, founder Ladies of Literature Book Club, MS volunteer, Families Fighting Cancer, Drama Club, Yearbook, Reading Club, Garden Club, Milton High School JV tennis coach, and that's just part of them. Kelly and her husband, Scott, have lived in the Oaks at White Columns for 24 years, where they raised their 2 children. Kelly has a variety of hobbies. Amongst all her committees, she also has hobbies: reading, knitting, dancing, paddleboarding, fishing, hiking, pickleball, and gardening. When I met with Kelly, her passion for the topic of sustainability really came through. She will be a great asset to this committee, so I'm requesting your approval of her nomination.
Great. Thank you, Councilmember Jacobus. Is there any council discussion? Is there a motion?
Make a motion to approve Kelly to the Sustainability Committee?
Second.
Okay, I have a motion from Councilmember Cranmer to have Kelly Christian on the committee, with a second from Councilmember Verhoff. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes unanimously. Kelly, welcome.
Oh, I think they're good. The thing is, she has to do her.
You're going to do your voting first and then you're going to sign.
I solemnly swear and affirm.
Really neat lady.
Sustainability Advisory Committee. And that I will support and defend the charter thereof. As well as the Constitution. Laws of the state of Georgia.
Going down.
He wants to-
And you're going to sign it now.
Picture time.
Actually, so keep on backing up. Works. And actually, Kelly, yours in the middle. That's all that matters. Perfect. 3, 2, 1. Got it. Thank you.
Next is general public comment. Madam Clerk, do we have any general public comment?
We do, Mayor Pro Tem. We have 9.
The next item is general public comment. Public comment is a time for citizens to share information with the Mayor Pro Tem and the City Council and to provide input and opinions on any matter that is not scheduled for its own public hearing during tonight's meeting. Each citizen who chooses to participate in public comment must complete a comment card and submit it to the city clerk prior to the agenda item being called. Please remember that this is not a time to engage the Mayor Pro Tem or members of the City Council in conversation. When your name is called, please come forward and speak into the microphone, stating your name and address for the record. You will have 5 minutes for remarks. The city encourages you to review the agenda. If you wish to speak, to bring your comment cards to the city clerk as of now.
Mayor Pro Tem, I'd like to invite Mary Cronk to the podium, please.
Good evening, Mayor Pro Tem and council members. My name is Mary Cronk, and I live at 600 Hickory Mill Lane. My comments this evening are about the final recommendations for City Council meeting efficiencies that were presented to Council at the January 17th special call meeting, whose stated purpose was to provide training to Council on the Open Meetings Act. Council committed to this training as part of the remediation plan submitted by the city attorney to the Georgia Assistant Attorney General when Council admitted to violating this act during a September 18th, 2023 meeting. I was in attendance that day at the meeting on January 17th with 5 other people. The city attorney said the training normally takes 6 hours, but he would be able to do a quick version with additional training if it was needed later on. He had to skip the ethics training portion, but was able to deliver the final recommendations about efficiencies for city council meetings. This was not the first time city council heard most, if not all, of these recommendations. The city attorney made them initially during, I believe it was a retreat council had last spring. At least 2 council members were opposed to them because they limited public participation in council meetings, and they were not discussed again until January 17th, 2024. I emailed council and the mayor about these final recommendations, and I received a response that these are merely the recommendations, his recommendations, and do not mean the council endorses these recommendations. So that begs the question, if council doesn't endorse these final recommendations, who approved them being added to the special call meeting? And why were they so important that they replaced ethics training? The city attorney doesn't create meeting agendas without approval from someone in city council or city government. Who approved that final recommendation, those recommendations being added to that meeting? In addition, these recommendations to improve meeting efficiencies, and by meeting efficiencies, you typically look at what's going to reduce the time of something, make a process run more smoothly. These were made without any apparent data to support them. Who within the city approved the city attorney presenting final recommendations, not suggestions, considerations, final recommendations without any apparent data to support them? Essentially, the city attorney was providing solutions without having studied what the issues were. Since there wasn't any data, I looked at meeting minutes and timestamps on meeting videos from 2023 regular city council meetings. And I put that data into a spreadsheet and generated charts from the spreadsheets, which I shared in an email to council and to the mayor on Monday evening. And the information I handed out, in case you didn't get a chance to read it, it's all in there. I don't have time to address all these recommendations. And council, you now have the ability to look at it for your own review. But I do want to focus on one recommendation, which was discontinuing the reading of emails into the public record. You might think because this was one of the recommendations, that if this is removed, it would improve the timing of meetings or somehow improve efficiencies. Of the 204 public comments that were made last year, only 7 of those were ones that were read in emails that were read into the public record. 7 out of 204. And it only took 13 minutes to read those. 13 minutes out of 58 hours and 25 minutes of regular council meetings. This recommendation is in no way supported by the data. In addition, if a person is homebound, can't attend a meeting in person, they're traveling for business or vacation, they have a home in Milton but only live here part-time, if this recommendation is approved, their voices are silenced and they no longer have the ability to voice their opinion. Even council members are allowed twice a year to voice their opinion remotely. Why would this be denied of Milton citizens? This recommendation needs to be removed immediately. Council, you have a tremendous opportunity to show your support of public engagement and public input by rejecting all of the recommendations that reduce or restrict the opportunity for public comment. Thank you very much for all that you do and for your careful consideration of what these recommendations might do.
Thank you, Ms. Cronk.
Mayor Pro Tem, I invite Lisa Cawley to the podium.
Good evening. My name is Lisa Cawley. I live at 14680 Freemanville Road. I'm also addressing the topic of restricting public comment. The city attorney has put forth various suggestions aimed at streamlining council meetings. However, it is essential to delve deeper into the underlying motivations for these proposals. Among the proposals are the elimination of public comments before each agenda item, the discontinuation of accepting public comments via email, and the consolidation of all public commentary at the start of the meeting. This would encompass comments on agenda items, general remarks, and zoning matters, with a total public comment period being limited to 30 minutes, allowing each individual 3 minutes to speak. Upon reviewing the data from 2023, we find that the average duration of council meetings, including executive sessions, was approximately 2.5 hours. Excluding executive sessions, the average meeting length was 2 hours and 3 minutes. Over the entire year 2023, only 7 emails were submitted as public comments, taking a total of 13 minutes for the clerk to read. The average time dedicated to general public comment per meeting was 12 minutes, significantly less than the 30-minute cap suggested by the city attorney. Each meeting typically saw 4 general public comments, averaging about 3 minutes per comment. Additionally, the time taken to read the consent agenda averaged 2 minutes and 15 seconds, challenging the notion that its removal would significantly reduce meeting times. Executive sessions added an average of 14 minutes to the length of each meeting. Clearly, the proposals to streamline the council meetings is not about the average city council meeting with the average public comments per meeting. The evidence prompts us to question the actual intent behind the city attorney's recommendations. Considering that council members convene 2 to 3 times a month, is a 2.5-hour commitment per meeting unreasonable? The assertion made by the city attorney suggesting that citizen attendees are eager to return home does not align with the motivations of those who attend these meetings. Individuals present at meetings are driven by their commitment to the community, concerns about specific agenda items, or the desire to share their viewpoints on matters of importance. This brings us to consider whether the true motive is to limit public participation, especially during contentious issues that draw larger crowds. After looking at the data, the real intent behind these proposals appears to be an effort to deter larger crowds from participating and providing numerous public comments on contentious issues, a move that would only undermine the democratic process and the vital role of public participation in our local governance. It is interesting, the city attorney stated at the open meetings training presentation in January, one of the problems with public comment is it gets in the way of council just going ahead and making decisions. The proposed changes could hinder the community's ability to voice their opinions publicly and on record, on video, potentially impacting how these concerns are shared with the wider community and local media. In light of the data and the potential implications for public engagement, there is no compelling justification for altering the structure of public comment. The council should reject the city attorney's recommendations and hear the voices of the electorate who placed them in office. It is not the council's role to make decisions in isolation or to disregard public input. As the city attorney himself highlighted, the essence of these meetings is for the public to face the council directly, sharing their concerns and viewpoints. Restricting public comment to a mere 10 individuals would severely limit this critical engagement, especially when larger amounts of citizens gather at council meetings. If any of you, whether newly elected or re-elected, had campaigned on the promise of limiting public input, it is doubtful that the voters would have supported such a stance. Imagine running a campaign with the promise of reducing public commentary at council meetings. It's hardly a winning slogan. If the council desires more efficient meetings, it should not achieve this by curtailing, restricting, or reducing the public's right to express their opinions. This aspect is fundamentally the most critical part of a council meeting. It was surprising to witness the city attorney during a session that was supposed to cover the Open Meetings Act and ethics training divert attention from ethics to focus on how to expedite meetings. Considering the city's recent breach of the Open Meetings Act due to an unauthorized meeting called by the city manager on September 18th, it's noteworthy that the city manager was absent from the training. Had that meeting not been convened, the city would not have found itself in violation of the Open Meetings Act. The city attorney, who does not live in Milton and does not represent our community's populist, leaves us questioning whose interest he was truly serving with this presentation on improving meeting efficiency. It certainly doesn't seem to be in favor of the citizens' rights or the electorate. I strongly urge you, the council, to disregard the city attorney's recommendations respectfully, to limit public commentary and listen to your constituents who
expired.
elected you to represent our entire community. Thank you.
Thank you.
I invite Robin Frickton to the podium.
Good evening. My name is Robin Frickton. I live at 2970 Francis Road. I've been a citizen here in Milton, Fulton County for 40 years and been to many council meetings, and I know they can be long. But my assumption is that you as council members knew that when you wanted us to vote on it. You probably, hopefully watched some videos or attended some of the meetings. They are long. In fact, that's just part of the American democracy. We get to talk to y'all here and let you know our opinions. Emails are fine up to a point, but they're very easy to dismiss, delete, and forget about because, well, they're on an electronic screen. You can turn that off anytime. The people, though, you get to see us. We get to tell you how we feel. And if you remember on the liquor license for the winery, that meeting lasted, I think the comments were long, but I think you got the point that the people weren't too happy. And that's what this is all about, is really to let you know where we're at. And for me, I learned something tonight about what's been going on. You know, we don't see that much in the Facebook or anything about really what's really going on. So the public comments, I believe, are very important to the way we run our business. The city's small. We don't have 1 million people here. And these are the times where the people can talk to you. So I'm hoping you will not change them. But the question I have is, who actually brought up this? I know that the city attorney did, but did he get it from the city council? Or was there an outside influence again that brought it up, trying to reduce what the citizens of Milton are involved in? Maybe you don't want to hear the problems. Some countries, they really don't want to hear what's going on. Okay, they just want you to do what they want, and that's it. That's not the way it is here. This is democracy. The people want to tell you what's going on, what they feel. Emails are fine, but the emails that you read weren't very many. So, I can't understand why you want to delete, not allow those. There's not much going on there. But like I said, I come to the meetings. I had my knee replaced. That's why I wasn't at your meeting January 15th, because I was getting the knee replaced then. But I'll try to make it a point to come more often. Okay? I'm 72. It sounds like you really don't want to hear our opinions, but until you change the procedures, I'll probably be here a lot more often, making more comments to you to get the point across. Thank you for your time.
Mayor Pro Tem, I invite Chris Hayes to the podium.
Thank you, sir. Okay.
Chris Hayes, I'm at 13585 Hopewell Road. I'm here tonight also to strongly object to the city attorney's recent recommendations that the city restrict public comment, eliminate public comments, eliminate public comment before agenda items, discontinue having the city clerk to read emails into the public record, and reduce the work sessions to once per month for an hour before regularly scheduled council meetings. The parameters for general public comment, agenda-specific public comment, the reading of emails into public comments, and work session scheduling were written into the city charter. The city attorney's excuse of streamlining meetings for efficiently only results in curbing public input. Ironically, as stated in the Milton Herald, Milton's communications director encouraged residents who wish to discuss meeting efficiency to attend a regular meeting of the city council during the general public comment period, the same public comment the city attorney is trying to limit. I want to express my outrage that the city is actually considering giving, also express my outrage that the city is actually considering giving an alcohol license to the homeowner at the back of a neighborhood. This reckless action flies in the face of pure common sense, especially considering the property does not meet the requirements that were established in 2021 for a farm winery. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Hayes.
Mayor Pro Tem, I invite Mr. Jim Rosenberger to the podium.
Hi, everyone. Jim Rosenberger, 13555 Black Merle Lane. I'm not going to be up here long. We were approved for the farm winery in June of 21. They approved it with conditions, no more than 10 people, appointment only. My wife and I looked at each other and said, well, no other winery in Georgia has conditions, but okay, we'll do that. We want to be good neighbors. So we did it on the spot without having to deliberate, without having to get attorneys involved. We did it. Here we are 3 years later, and we learn of concerns about, oh my gosh, drunk driving, traffic, and noise. Listening to those concerns, we said, wow, not sure how our business model is going to be as effective as we thought it would be without the chance to try the wine. But you know what? We're creative. We're entrepreneurial. We'll sell through restaurants. We'll sell through a wine club. We'll sell through festivals. We'll find another way to get the word out because our product, we hope, is going to be really, really good. But once again, we pivoted and changed our entire business plan to meet those that were concerned. I'm standing here today to say, you know what? Our offer is still there. We want to be good neighbors. We don't want anyone to feel concerned or scared that there's drunk drivers in the neighborhood, that there's additional traffic in the neighborhood. We wanted to take all of the variables off the table, and we did. So what happened next? The opponents moved the goalposts, and they continue to do that. And we're at a point where we want to do the right thing. We really want to be compliant with what people's concerns are, but we also are pleading to the city council to allow us our rights as citizens, allow us our rights under George Farm Winery law, because we've taken all the concerns off the table and we just want to be given an opportunity to do what other farm wineries get to do. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Rosenberger.
Mayor Pro Tem, I invite Brad Chapin, did I say that right? I'm sorry, to the podium.
Good evening, Council. 14385 Cogburn Road. I'm here in support of the barnery as well. I live around the corner from Pamelot, Juliet's mom, and thousands and thousands and thousands of cars go through that roundabout every single day. They have hundreds of people at their winery. I have yet to ever hear of an incident as relating to someone leaving that place intoxicated. Maybe it's happened, I don't know. But when you're talking about somebody only having a very few select people come to their property I don't know if you guys have had the opportunity to see, it's an absolutely beautiful facility. We were in LJ 2 weeks ago visiting some of the most beautiful wineries in North Georgia. There were no issues. Their property, what their improvements are, far exceed anything that we saw there. I would suggest to the property owners that we might be disaster fantasizing a little bit. I get it that people say, okay, you're at the back of a neighborhood. Okay, well, you're at the end of a roundabout. Everybody gets someplace. There's always a destination. Do we actually have any real statistics, any real data to support any of these insinuations? I don't think so. I think people are just simply disaster fantasizing. And I'm here to say, I think the city council should actually look at the concessions that the Rosenbergers have made and maybe potentially consult with the city attorney, because I'm not an attorney, but I'm very familiar with civics and I'm very familiar with the 14th Amendment and the Equal Protection Clause. And my thought would be that this would be an absolute violation of the Equal Protection Clause. Have a good evening.
Thank you.
Mayor Pro Tem, I invite Kathy Cooper to the podium.
Good evening, City Council members. I am not a speaker, but I felt compelled to come here in support of Darren and Jim's Winery and in support of the grant of their liquor license. I think I've heard so many misconceptions that I felt compelled to come and support them. This is not an application for a bar. This is not an application for a wild party. This is an application for people basically coming into their home. I understand they've taken the tasting room off the table, which I think is a shame. My husband and I have lived here for almost 12 years. We're passionate about Milton, and this type of thing is exactly the reason we moved here. I mean, I'm a horse girl, so that too, but we raised 3 children here. We've had children in the public schools. I strongly disagree with a lot of the misconceptions that have put out there. I don't think this is dangerous. This is not a bar in downtown Milton or Alpharetta. These are people who have opened a very classy and wonderful place. So it was very limited. And at this point, they're just fighting to get their license, their business license, like any of us would, not even to run anything out of there anymore. They are simply fighting for the right to sell their product in restaurants, bars, or wherever they can. And I think it's completely unfair for some. I agree that a lot of the fears sound incredibly unfounded, and they're being denied, basically the right to do business based on some basically prior restraint. So I think this is exactly the type of reason a lot of people come to Milton, for these types of beautiful experiences. So I am strongly in support, and don't feel that any of these fears are founded. Thank you.
Thank you.
I invite Julie Zonner Bailey to the podium.
Good evening. My name is Julie Zonner Bailey, and I live at 255 Hickory Flat Road, Milton, Georgia. Thank you for the opportunity to address you this evening. Public comment and citizen engagement is critical to the City of Milton and all of its citizens. The proposed changes to the rules and procedures identified at the January 17th special called meeting should not be adopted, and instead should be taken off the table for consideration entirely. These proposed changes should not happen, not now, not ever. The proposed changes to the rules and procedures of regular council meetings and work sessions under the guise of meeting efficiencies simply does not ring true when you evaluate the specifics. These proposed changes would limit public comment, constrain free speech, and severely limit citizen engagement. This would be in direct contrast to the City of Milton's claim, and candidly each of your claims, to support and encourage transparency and wide public involvement. The proposed changes that impact citizen engagement that most include the following. Recommendation 1, removing the reading of consent agenda items reduces transparency and the opportunity for City Council to move an item to the regular agenda for further discussion and public comment. Recommendations number 2 and number 3, removing the opportunity for public comment before each specific agenda item and instead lumping all comments tied to all agenda items into one public comment block, while also reducing the overall time allowed for comment, would cause great confusion and diminish the impact of citizen input and comments on specific items, including important zoning cases. Public comment should be top of mind when City Council discusses each agenda item. These should not be lumped together. Recommendation number 4, reducing the time per person and total time allowed for general public comment could prevent all who want to speak to City Council from speaking, particularly about contentious issues, and there are some, when City Council needs to hear from a variety of people to make an informed decision. Currently, and since inception, that's since the inception of the City of Milton, since 2006, general public comment rules have allowed 5 minutes of comments per speaker with no limit to the number of speakers or on the total time of allowed comments. This should absolutely continue. We're grounded in those rules. We were founded on those rules. Recommendation number 5, combining the public hearing agenda items such as alcohol licenses with zoning agenda items such as rezonings that could impact density, the viewshed, and the quality of life of Milton residents are very, very different types of issues that City Council should focus on independently of each other. Recommendation number 6, eliminating citizen input via emails being read by the city clerk at City Council meetings and requiring comments to be read into the record in person, disenfranchising those who, for any reason whatsoever, cannot physically make it to the meeting. those should still be allowed. It does not improve meeting efficiency. Recommendation number 7, scheduling work sessions to occur just before regular city council meetings instead of at separate meetings as they are currently now held means that citizens who are at work cannot attend. Creating a hard stop at the work session because the city council meeting needs to start places artificial time restraints and constraints on the mayor and city council. Work sessions allow you, the city council, to have deeper discussions about issues transparently and in full view of citizens, and should not be rushed, nor should they be held when citizens cannot be present because they're at work. The future of Milton and an open and transparent local government depend on active community engagement, which includes ample public comment during regular council meetings and work sessions, during general public comments, and when specific items are called. It relies on the ability for the agenda to be broken down into appropriate sections with public input and comments at the time of the agenda, such as zoning cases, not lumped together. It requires work sessions to be on their own day at a time when citizens can likely attend and allow ample time for meaningful work versus artificial time limits. It depends on citizens being able to email their comments to be read into the record when citizens otherwise cannot attend. And it expects consent agenda items to be read into the record for all to hear and to clearly understand. I implore each of you to remain committed to open and transparent rules and procedures, including public comment and agenda items that encourage and promote citizen input and engagement versus shutting it down. Citizen input always helps drive better decision-making. You were elected for transparency. You were elected to encourage public involvement, to encourage public engagement. And I encourage you to please deny these recommendations. Don't allow them to come forward. We really shouldn't be having to discuss them, but we are, because we have the opportunity for public comment before the council and mayor. Please make it clear that you do not support the suggested changes to the rules and procedures. I appreciate your time and all that you do each day. Thank you.
I invite Jessica Buxton to the podium.
Hello, my name is Jessica Buxton. I live at 75 Providence Plantation Drive. Many of you already know me. I am here to speak about two different things. One is the public comments. You guys saw firsthand on February 5th the importance of public comment. I know that that was a very long evening for you guys, and I appreciate you guys sitting and listening to us because you didn't get to hear our voices back in 2021. When that is when we should have been able to speak. And yes, we did have the option to speak had we known what was truly happening behind the gates at 1355 Blackmore Lane. Ken, I see you watching that. I've been here a couple of times. I never see you look up and listen to people and hear people. And you guys all are a unit. We have been emailing you guys. We've been trying to communicate with you guys. We give you guys all this evidence that is at your fingertips that we have to dig up. We have presented you guys with ample amounts of information on the discrepancies of his application, the improper proceedings that you guys have done, and all of this stuff. We have told you guys that it is grounds for voiding his application, which would make his zoning null and void. We do not want this in our neighborhood. You guys wouldn't want it in your neighborhood either. Many of you guys came to our neighborhood and said it to our face what a bad idea this is. All of you guys, if you watch the March 24th hearing, you guys, not you, sorry, planning committee, let me rephrase that, the zoning and planning committee, were literally asking the applicant legal state laws and regulations. There was a guy over here typing stuff up on a computer to look it up. Why in the world are you guys even allowing farm wineries to be discussed whenever you don't know the rules and the laws yourself? Carol, you told Steve Lanham the right hand didn't know how to talk to the left hand. There is no way that you guys need to be passing an alcohol license in a neighborhood, especially when you guys passed your own farm winery laws. We are begging you to either do the audit that we asked you to do, to go back to the beginning. If you do the audit and you say he is vested, then you know what? Okay. But if you do the audit from a third party and they find the discrepancies that we found, and it is grounds for possibly voiding his application, then that is what it needs to happen. You need to do the deck act that you told us that you would do. Stop pushing us around. Stop trying to make this go through. We are the ones that are falling and having to deal with this. You are putting it on us. I'm shaking because I'm so upset. We woke up October 5th knowing nothing of this winery until the alcohol license went in. Let me back up to the 2021. What you guys sent and what the applicant Jim Rosenberger sent to us said, cup to AG1 220, build a single family home with a barn for animals. That letter should have read, cup to AG1 for farm winery designation with a variance for an existing structure. All of you have been sent the video of his barn that was no longer a barn. It was renovated in 2021. You even posted on your Facebook page, his beautiful barn. I'm not denying they spent money, but it was not for this after he was given this status. He did that in 2021. The rest of it was his single family home. So I am begging you guys as citizens to do the right thing. You guys have all been out. You know it's a single lane in with multiple bus stops, 50 kids in that neighborhood. Yes, he said he will take off the tasting room and said his friends and family. Who's going to regulate that? Are you guys going to regulate his friends list? You have no cap on these supposedly conditions you guys are giving us. We at least know with what we have right now, it's 5 appointments and no more than 10 people. If you take these conditions away and give him this and open it up for friends and family, there's no telling. There's no telling how many people he's going to have show up as his friends in his wine club. So again, please do the homework. Please do the right thing for our community. Don't set this bad precedent for the rest of the community. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mayor Pro Tem, that concludes general public comment.
Moving on to the consent agenda, will the city clerk sound the items?
Mayor Pro Tem, that first item is approval of the February 5th, 2024 regular city council meeting minutes, agenda item number 24061. B is approval of the February 12th, 2024 city council work session meeting minutes, agenda item number 24062. C is approval of the financial statements and investment report for the period ending December 31st, 2023, agenda item number 24063. D is approval of a construction services agreement with Spectrum Fence LLC to construct a new fence surrounding field number 1 at Legacy Park. Agenda item number 24064. Item E is approval of a professional services agreement with S&ME Inc. for geotechnical services for exploration of subsurface conditions along Gunston Hall Circle in Providence Lake Subdivision. Agenda item number 24065. Next is approval of a task order number 1 with Columbia Engineering and Services, Inc. for right-of-way acquisition services at the intersection of State Route 140 and Arnold Road at Green Road. Agenda item number 24066. G is approval of a services agreement between the City of Milton and Water Systems of Georgia, LLC, for the addition of a water filtration system at the Milton Public Works Building. Agenda item number 24067. H is approval of change order number 1 to the software subscription agreement between the City of Milton and Verizon Connect Fleet USA, LLC, for the addition of GPS tracking software to city assets. Agenda item number 24068. I is approval of a professional services agreement with Keckenwood, Inc. for professional engineering services to recollect traffic counts and provide an updated traffic study at the intersection of State Route 140, Arnold Mill Road at Green Road. Agenda item number 24069. Our final consent agenda approval of subdivision plats and revisions. The name of the development is Addison Place. It's large lots at 14295 Thompson Road. It's land lots 745 and 746 in District 2, Section 2, a minor plat to reconfigure existing land boundaries for 3 large lots ranging in size from 4.043 acres to 8.363 acres. It's a total of 18.434 acres and a density of 0.16 lots per acre. It is agenda item number 24070. Mayor Pro Tem.
Thank you, Madam City Clerk. Do we have a motion to approve the consent agenda as read?
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda as read.
Thank you. I have a motion from Councilmember Haney and a second from Councilmember Jacobus to approve the consent agenda as read. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion passes unanimously. Thank you. Well, pause for a moment. All right, there are no reports and presentation items. Moving on to the first presentation, will the city clerk please sound the item?
That item A is consideration of an ordinance amendment to Chapter 56, Article 3, speed limits. Agenda item number 24071. Mayor Pro Tem.
Is there a motion and second?
Make a motion that we approve first presentation, item number 24-071.
Second?
Okay, I have a motion from Councilmember Fairhoff and a second from Councilmember Johnson to approve the first presentation as read. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. That motion passes unanimously. Okay, there are no public hearing items, and the zoning agenda is being deferred to the April 8th, 2024 regular council meeting. And there is no unfinished business items. Moving on to new business, will the city clerk please sound the items?
That first new business item A is consideration of a construction services agreement with Wilson Construction Management LLC for Bethany Bend traffic and pedestrian improvements. Agenda item number 24072. Mr. Rob Del.
Mayor Pro Tem, we may have an announcement prior to this item, and so we may want to take a pause to have that announcement made.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, Mr. Mayor Pro Tem, this agenda item was originated by a homeowners association, of which I was previously a board member of. Because I was on the HOA board when this request was made to the city of Milton for action, I believe that my taking action on it in my capacity as city council member carries with it the appearance of impropriety. As such, in an abundance of caution and upon conferring with the city attorney, I wish to recuse myself from this item.
Thank you, Councilmember Cranmer. Your recusal is accepted.
Mr. Rob Del Ross.
Thank you, Tammy. Good evening, Mayor Pro Tem, council members. Tonight is recommendation to award a construction contract to build 3 separate projects that we combined for proximity and economic scale reasons. While on my presentation is coming up on your slides. Those 3 projects are a roundabout at Bethany Bend and Bethany Creek Drive. As Councilmember Cranmer just mentioned, this was originally a request brought forward to staff by the HOA to provide a safer pedestrian crossing across Bethany. There's a unique situation. You can see my cursor on the screen. We actually have a subdivision bisected through the middle by Bethany Bend, where we have 1/3 of the residents on one side, 2/3 on the other side, with no way to get from one side to the other. The unique situation about this intersection was that we could fit in a mini roundabout that provides those pedestrian crossings at relatively low cost as far as capital projects and public works goes. In addition to that, it will also provide a speed reduction measure along Bethany. This isn't the only measure we're looking at Bethany. If you remember, Bethany was talked about quite a bit in our T-SPLOST 2 project lists. We do have future aspirations to look at further improvements along Bethany, starting from State Route 9 going east down towards the intersection with Morris Road, primarily due to the construction of the McGinnis Ferry 400 interchange. That's project 1. Project 2. Project 2 was the tier 1 recommendation out of the trail prioritization plan for the Deerfield area. The crossing where my cursor is on the screen right here. The important thing about this crossing is once it's online, you will have a sidewalk from State Route 9 almost all the way to the roundabout at Strickland with that one crossing. There's primarily sidewalk on the north side as you leave State Route 9, then you'll cross to the other side of the road. Then you'll continue further east, almost to the roundabout, but not quite. This would be a great improvement for the residents of the area. Third project is resurfacing inside Bethany Creek Drive that was needed. Often when we put together resurfacing lists, we look at proximity to try and get the best price from the contractors. We are recommending approval of 1.103544.00 to Wilson Construction Management. They were the lowest responsible bidder through our bidding process. Open to any questions you may have.
Thank you. Is there any public comment?
Not on this item, ma'am.
Is there any council discussion?
Nope.
It looks impressive.
What's the time frame?
We don't have a schedule from the contractor yet. That's one of the first things we get after this is awarded tonight, and we sit down and learn about their schedule. From when they start, I believe it's about a 3-month project. So we're hoping maybe starting in March or April, ending in the summertime, maybe June or July. It should go relatively quick. This is almost one of the easiest public works projects you'll ever see.
3 months. Yeah.
I'm jinxing
Don't
myself,
jinx
yes.
yourself.
3 months is pretty short. That's great.
Very good. Thank you. Is there a motion and a second?
Make a motion that we approve agenda item number 24-072.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion to approve agenda item number 24-072 from Councilmember Jacobus and a second from Councilmember Verhoff. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Thank you
Thank you.
very much. All right, will the city clerk please sound the next item?
Yes, for the record, new business item 12B was deferred in the approval of the meeting agenda to a future date. So we're going to go straight to new business item number C, which is consideration of a resolution to adopt a City of Milton residential speed zone program policy and procedures. It's agenda item number 24074. Our Public Works Director, Ms. Sarah Leaders.
Thank you. So as the slides are pulling up, this is a final step in initiating our residential speed zone program. So the city has a toolbox of various engineering, education, and enforcement measures to address vehicle speeds, and the residential speed zone program is another tool in that toolbox specifically for local residential streets with low posted speed limits. So some background, this was first identified in the local road safety plan. It listed a measure as Milton-specific speed zones. So that's what residential speed zones are. They're a specific type of speed zone identified. Then in November of 2023 at the work session, we discussed the viability of this program. In December, made a ordinance revision to support resolutions to identify these designated residential speed zones. And then on February 5th, we discussed the program recommendations. So these are a lot of the same slides that you saw on February 5th. First of all, State of Code of Georgia provides that the thresholds for radar detection, the 10 miles an hour over the posted speed, don't apply in properly marked residential zones, which means a speed limit could be enforced at anything above the posted speed. And that's on roads that are less than 35 miles an hour. The residential speed zones do still have to be on our Georgia DOT and Department of Public Safety list of roads on our radar permit. Our city code provides that we can designate these residential zones by resolution. And so this item tonight is really formulating those policies and procedures to run the program. To recap, the feedback we got on the policy is, again, it's on local residential streets. Those speed limits are designated by the state code at 25 or 30 miles an hour. It's got to be on the radar permit. And one of our recommended policy conditions is at least 100 vehicles a day. And one other point to call out on this slide is that the city has the discretion to initiate a residential speed zone if it's in the best interest of public safety. This is a resident-driven request, so we would look for applications from either an HOA when there's a mandatory HOA, the HOA board, If there's not a mandatory HOA, we'd be looking for someone that is representative of the neighbors or the lots that front that road. We're going to determine a study area and the number of lots that are considered part of that study area. And this map, or the two graphics on the right, showed two examples of roads that could be eligible as a residential speed zone, and then what that study area looks like. So just to recap what that is if there's a roadway, the red colored road is on our radar permit, it could be eligible. The green highlighted road is not on the radar permit, but there's no other access for those lots to get out onto Freemanville Road than to go along the residential speed zone roadway. So the study area on this first map would encompass the entire neighborhood. The second graphic shows a subdivision that has a secondary access. So the lots that front that secondary access would not be part of the study area. This is also a resident-supported request, so that is going to trigger a petition requirement where we're looking for those within the study area vote in favor of establishing a residential speed zone. It would be up to the applicant to get those petition signatures, and each lot gets one vote. We're structuring this very similar to our traffic calming, which requires a 67% support. This summarizes the procedure again, where the applicant will submit the request. So it will be applicant driven. Public Works will then look at the eligibility, determine the study area. From that, the applicant would obtain a petition. Once Public Works validates the petition, our next step would be to check the list of roads. If the requested residential speed zone road is on the list, it would go straight to a council resolution to add that road as a residential speed zone. If it's not on the list of roads, we have to go through the process of having it added. That is a multi-step, multi-month process with Georgia DOT and Department of Public Safety. Once it goes through that process, it would then go follow the same resolution to add it as a residential speed zone. Following that resolution, Public Works would install signage along the roadway, and then it would move into the police department to educate and enforce the residential speed zone. So our next steps are consideration of adopting this policy and procedures tonight. And at that point, the program can become operational, and we can reach out to let HOAs and other residents know that this program is available for applications. And I'd be glad to answer any questions.
Any questions from the council?
And you may have addressed this before. If you did, I missed it. When you use the radar, would it be strictly from a police officer's vehicle, or would it be a box that we put on a post that would generate a ticket automatically and there's no personnel involved?
I don't believe we have any automated speed zones or have the ability to do those. But this would just be the vehicle's radar.
That's correct. We do not. And I believe currently in the state of Georgia, the only locations where automated speed detection are in state-approved school zones, and we don't have those here in the city of Milton. We have school zones, just not automated speed detection.
So the automated has to be approved by the state, not us, or?
Currently, it would be you if you wanted to institute something like that in the school zones. Outside of the school zones, I do not believe it's permitted by the state, which means we cannot do it either.
Okay.
I believe that's the case.
All righty, thanks.
Any other discussion from council?
Sarah, what is going to be the application process exactly?
So it'll be a simple form where we have the information about the HOA. We have the roads requested. They can request one or multiple roads within the neighborhood. And that'll pretty much be the initial application. It's just going to be a pretty simple form.
And who should they contact to get it if asked?
We'll create a page and a form for this on our website, and then push that out as we announce the program.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Does the city clerk have any public comment?
We do not, Mayor Pro Tem.
Okay. Is there a motion and a second to approve agenda item number 24-074?
I'll make a motion to approve agenda item number 24-074.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion from Councilmember Haney and a second from Councilmember Jacobus to approve the number 24-074. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion passes unanimously. Thank you. Moving on to mayor and council reports. Does council want to say anything?
Not tonight.
No? All right. So moving on to staff reports. I see somebody in the front row. Oh, it must be Fire Chief Gabe Ben-Musa.
That's me.
Welcome to the podium, sir.
Thank you very much. Good evening, Mayor, council members. I am going to be providing you an update on our city strategic plan, as well as the fire department strategic plan. We've made great progress, so we're on track. So I'll start with the city strategic plan. Our strategic priority, the strategic priority that we fall under is ensure Milton's sustainability and resiliency. It's goal 2 and goal 4. So goal 2 talks about ensuring Milton's readiness and preparedness to respond to disasters, as well as usual or critical events. Some of the outcomes that we measured with is the Community Connect program. We have almost 300 people registered, and we're in the process of implementing that program throughout, implementing strategies to beef up the program. For some of the council members, if you're not familiar with Community Connect, it's a program where the community can log in, they can create an account, they can share information about their property. For example, if you have a bridge on your property that goes over like a little creek or something, and it's not engineered, you could provide us that information because we don't want to drive the fire truck over that, right? Because we'll end up in the creek. So, for example, gates, if you have codes for gates, you can provide that code so that if there is an emergency, we don't have to break your gate. We can just punch in the code. So that information is protected to the level like the health information, the way it's protected. It's only shared during emergencies. It comes up automatically. It's in a sense like how we do pre-plan for businesses, pre-incident planning. It's like the citizen doing their own pre-incident planning. You can share pictures of animals. If you have animals at home, dogs, pictures, how many people you have. If you have an at-risk person living at home, you can provide us that information. So that, for example, for autistic children's lights and sirens might agitate them. So if we have that information, when we pull in, we're coming in quiet for an emergency. So there is an area of things that we could use the program Community Connect. It's a great program. We've also completed our continuity of operations plan for the city, as well as for the fire department. A continuity of operations plan is based on the FEMA standard. And that essentially just says if things were to happen, emergencies were to happen in the city during a disaster, we sort of have a plan on how to keep running. So that touches every department in the city. It's very specific and sort of outlines the responsibilities and sort of contingency planning, right? My emergency manager is working on getting an incident management team trained. We're about 80% to get those requirements from FEMA to have a city incident management team. Essentially that if we have a disaster, tornado rolls through, hurricane, that incident management team will be able to go to the EOC and sort of run the incident, run the city, run the resources, request resources. So we're just getting them additional training. Most of the members have basic training, but we're getting advanced training for the members of that team. And they're made up of members from all departments. One of the goals that we had as well was to conduct a hostile event training, i.e. active shooter, could be any, somebody driving like a vehicle through a parade, things like that. So we partnered up with PD and Kingsridge and we did a training. We have an emergency management exercise scheduled April 11th here in City Hall as part of our drill that was scheduled. So we'll strive to do those every year. So we're doing a tabletop here. As far as public-private partnerships, we're still working on building those partnerships. Again, it's all revolves around disasters. We have partnerships with North Fulton cities. We have partnerships with the GMA, Georgia Emergency Management Agency, so Fulton County as well. So we're trying to find private partnerships as well within the city, so that if we had a massive event, we can call on those partnerships. So again, my emergency manager is working on that. Goal 4, maintain a secure community in which people can live, work, and play safely. One of the outcomes was the Fire Cares program. I believe Mark Haskins delivered a presentation for you on that program. It's a highly successful program. It's growing like every day. We're actually getting ready to implement a safe sitter program here, where we can teach young people how to safely babysit. So we'll teach CPR, fire safety, all kinds of stuff. So it's a certified program. We're just getting our instructors right now through the training, so we would be able to deliver a safe sitter program through our cares. Those are some of the things that we're working on. The other outcome is now we have a co-response team, mental health team, a de-escalation team that's made up of police and fire. All of the police officers are certified. I have several members in the fire department, as well as the community paramedic, Derek Hoffman, is certified. And now they've scheduled visits to some of those mental health calls based on the database or based on the interactions. And they will call them ahead of time and say if they would like a visit. So they visit, they kind of get ahead of it. If they need anything, connect them with services. That's what they try to do. And that's been really successful. So they're doing, I think, about 3 visits right now in a month, and it's growing. Again, it just depends on availability. But most of the people they've visited have been very receptive and good. And they would also referrals, follow-ups as well from incidents. So our goal is to get the people the help they need. That's part of the safety crisis intervention team training. Those people, again, all police officers, they're all certified. My firefighters, not all are certified. It takes it's a 40-hour training, but we have several members within the shifts that are certified in crisis intervention and de-escalation. We completed our FEMA hazard risk analysis last year, so that plan is done. So this is as far as our role and how we contribute to that to ensure Milton's sustainability and resiliency. As far as the fire strategic plan, again, we're making great progress. Those are the strategic priorities: community resiliency. We standardize our incident command with our North Fulton partners, so we speak the same language when it comes to managing incidents, but also enhancing firefighter safety as well as our community safety. And we built a city incident management team that I was telling you about, 80% complete as far as training. Those outcomes at 100% certification. Now our exercises meet the federal government standard of the Homeland Security Exercise Evaluation Program standard. The emergency manager is certified, so all of those exercises that we deliver meet that standard, so it meets the national standard. That plays a role for later on during disasters, things like that. When you go after reimbursements and things like that, you could show that you did your due diligence as far as meeting those standards. Community risk reduction, the community risk reduction assessment and technology integration. We have the sidewalk, My Sidewalk. I don't know if you're familiar with that, which is the CREG. It's the program where it pulls data from different parts of incidents, fires, everything, and it plots it on a map so that our community risk reduction efforts are directed specifically based on those incidents. One example is this year, our theme for fire prevention was cooking fires, because we had a significant amount of kitchen fires in the Deerfield area, specifically in apartment complexes. So our efforts in community education, public education, based on that data, based on the way the heat map came out, was directed towards that area, because that's where we see focus on for those efforts in public education. I'll give you another example. If we had like a lot of bicycle accidents, kids getting injured, then we would focus on bicycle safety, for example, for kids riding around. If we had people injured at the park. So that data helps us sort of like specifically target that risk in what area of the city. Enhanced service delivery. We went to automatic vehicle locator. We have now an auto aid with all North Fulton cities. There are no jurisdictional boundaries. The closest unit responds to the call. We also standardize our training. Our Milton Fire Corps is also another success story. They're members of the community that really, truly contribute to the community and the fire department. We have increased our cardiac arrest survivability. We continue to work hard on that. Mark shared some data with you. And building Station 45, we're in the design phase, and we'll be coming forward with that probably sometime in April. For the accreditation, I'm really excited. I can't wait because next Tuesday I go in front of the commission. So I'm like pumped. So hopefully if we make it through the commission, then we'll be accredited. Hopefully the April meeting I can come back with the plaque and something we should be proud of, our accreditation to be nationally and internationally accredited as a fire department. That means that we meet the best practices, the best standards out there. Our policies are good. Our practices, our programs are evaluated. So we meet the highest standards in the industry when it comes to providing fire and rescue services.
When is that meeting?
I'm sorry?
When are you presenting?
Tuesday, next Tuesday.
Next Tuesday.
In Orlando, Florida, yes.
Good luck.
Thank you. As far as the Milton Cares, that was another strategic priority. I talked about that. Increase technical rescue response capabilities. We want to blend that with our TLAR, which is our technical large animal rescue. Some of you, if you're familiar with the history, Milton was the first team to ever put a technical large animal rescue in this part of the country. And a lot of the original members have retired or transitioned out. So we have a sort of like a new breed now. And we've sent them down to South Georgia for the program to be certified so that we can fill those ranks. One of the things that we'll probably be looking at the next budget year is replacing our TLAR vehicle. So we're building capabilities and capacities for our TLAR team. Health and wellness. Thank you. The city provides a great annual physical for our firefighters. It's based again on national standards and FBA standards for cancer prevention, cardiovascular health. I think the healthier our firefighters are, the better the impact is down the road. And while they're here working, a healthy workforce, I think, just translates to better services, in my opinion. So, as well as the peer support. Our peer support is the mental health support. First responders, as you know, suffer from a lot of mental health. I mean, that's the reality. PTSD, all kinds of things, and it catches up with you. So we're trying to get ahead of that by having a peer support team. So we have members that are trained in peer support, but we also have partnerships with some of the community organizations. The latest one was the Birdhouse here in Milton, the Birdhouse Ministries that offering all our first responders and their spouses a day where they can come in there and relax, talk to someone if they need to. So that's a great community partnership at no cost to the city. It's just I want to thank the First Responders Foundation for funding that service. And we have also partnership with Summit Counseling as well. We have our chaplaincy. So we have a very strong peer support program when it comes to mental health. It's a real disease in the fire service. And I think in any first responders have experienced different tragedies because of mental health or lack of support. Professional standards, that is our training. We did a training analysis back in 2021. I came on board, and we found that we had significant gaps in training. So we've increased our training. We added a full-time training officer that focuses on going out with the crews and training. We also beefed up our ranks by having several shift members to be trained to be field training officers for fire or medical training officers so they can deliver paramedic continued education. We also we do a professional leadership academy for our supervisors every year just to increase their supervisory skills, managerial skills, and leadership skills. We've managed to increase our training by 200%. So, and we coordinate with our North Fulton cities, partners that we work with, so we're not duplicating the effort. So they host certain classes. We host some, plus the state provides some more. So we try to tap into all the resources that we have when it comes to training. That is it. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer.
Questions from council?
I've got a comment and a question.
Yes, sir.
First of all, the visibility of this is incredible. This is what good looks like.
Thank you.
As a newcomer to this council, the strategic plan is the document that I'm digging into, and I'm going through 200 Excel pages of all of the tasks and all the action items, many of which you just presented out on. So first of all, thank you for keeping it visible.
Thank you.
Thank you for being accountable to it. That is what good looks like. My question is, within that stoplight report, within the strategic plan, is a green, yellow, red status. My question to you is anything red? And if it's red, is there anything you need from the council to turn it green?
Nothing is red.
Okay.
So that's the good news. We, when we built our strategic plan, we truly dug deep and did a SWOT analysis because we didn't want it to become a hindrance or put priorities that we couldn't accomplish. We were very realistic. We took into account growth, funding, everything else, things that we can accomplish now. And no issues there. I'm confident by the end of 2025, we'll have checked every box in there. So, and then we'll be getting ready for our next 5 years. But absolutely, we appreciate all the support that you give us. And we'll continue to be accountable and we'll continue to perform and provide outcomes. I mean, that's our goal. So
thank you.
Chief, I-
Great
Thank
job.
you. Yes,
Chief,
ma'am.
thank you. I have a question. So on the first page, and you don't need to go back to it, where you have goals and then outcomes.
Yes.
One of the outcomes is you stood up the program Community Connect, and another one. So where does that's a nascent program though. The check mark is not indicative of success achieved. It's just that the program's been stood up and is functional.
Yes, program is stood up and functional. And some of the strategies that were to sign up more people is we're creating a literature. We're getting together with members of the fire corps. So they want to champion that. So we have a meeting in 2 weeks. So they want to champion that to the community because they have visibility to the community, they have connections. Every now and then we'll put stuff out, but we're going to try to include, like, for example, we're now integrating Community Connect into the CARES. So our paramedic, when they go and visit with a citizen, they will sign them up automatically for Community Connect, obviously with their Community Connect, with their approval. They'll build the account for them if they build them a fake email, just so they can sign up and include that information. So we have certain strategies. I think we have the marketing materials because it comes with the program. It's just we need to get it out there.
Yeah, we're just at like 200 households.
200, almost 300.
Okay, we've
Close
got
to
a long
300
way to go.
households.
Yeah,
Yes.
that'll be exciting to get there.
Fire Corps did a good job at Touch a Truck, getting folks signed
Yes.
up that day too.
And
That had to
would
be a
one of
big
the
deal.
opportunities is Touch the Truck to sign up people. I'm thinking about putting QR codes on our engine so that you can just go right in there,
That's a great idea.
and scan it, and you can sign up right there. So it works on mobile, it works on a computer as well. So that's one of the
Chief,
things
I
we're
had a
doing.
quick question
Yes.
on the Safe Sitter program. I think that's going to be an amazing program. My
Yes.
2 oldest daughters were babysitters, and I made them go through CPR training before they would even
Yes.
see a baby or any child. Do you plan on partnering with the middle schools and high schools to maybe roll that out as an after-school activity that they can sign up for in maybe small groups?
Honestly, we haven't figured out the rollout. We're working through getting our instructors. We identified one. Brandy Sadowski is willing to take that on. So that's a great idea. Our plan is to have it ready for the summer because summer is
Okay.
when kids are looking to babysit. There's also a program that they have for caring for the elderly, which is really great. If you're, if you're a 18-year-old or 17 and you're taking care of your grandmother or grandfather, there's things about you need to know about seniors. So we're going to roll that program as well.
Great.
So Safe Sitter, yes, that will be a partnership. Our CPR classes are filling up really quick. I anticipate this to be very popular.
I agree. Yeah,
I did a
that's
safe
great.
sitter class at North Fulton Hospital back in the day when I was in middle school.
Yeah, it's a great program. It's well known nationally. So we're not going to go recreate something, and it's recognized. I think we'll be the first in this area. There's one in Gwinnett County, and I think there's one in Cobb, I believe. So
Thank you.
Very cool.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Chief.
thank you.
Okay, we will now adjourn into executive session to discuss personnel, land acquisition, and the potential for litigation. Do I have a motion and a second? To adjourn.
I
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
We have a motion from Councilmember Verhoff and a second from Councilmember Jacobus. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion to adjourn passes.
Nonsense, darling. Why, I fixed you up last night, and I'll do it again. Nonsense, darling. Why, I fixed you up last night, and I'll do it again.
Sounds weird. Sounds weird. Sounds weird. Sounds weird.
Also council members.
All right, now we need the next one.
Make a
Now-
motion to adjourn?
Yes, second, please.
Second.
Haney made the motion. Mr. Jacobus made the second. Pizza for all.
Good night.